and some guy was coming up, like a member of my faith, Jewish guy, and he was telling you should invest this way. And right in the middle, you saw a friend, you said, "What up, fool?" And so Kurt Metzger said, "You cut him off mid-Jew." Do you remember that now?
I know. That's the old man, right? By the pool?
Invest your money wisely.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure now that you've won this money. So I cut you off mid-Jew.
Yeah, man.
I gotta breathe over here. People think we start breathing in front of the mic.
Right on him. You got it.
It came to my head a couple times because I was like, fuck, I sound like a fucking animal, dog. Breathing all heavy on the mics and shit. I'm trying to go back a little bit or like try not to chew or even cough and shit.
People act like we don't read the comments, huh? Yeah, we need to shut the hell up.
Oh, that one guy, I was like, damn, dog. I was like, but you know what, dude? One thing is when they get hated, all right, dog, by a human. But this fool had his profile was an egg, man. Get the fuck out of here, dog. Fucking troll.
It's probably your brother.
I know, huh? So I was just thinking, I know it's a motherfucker I know, dog.
What's up, fool?
What's up, fool?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So what's up, man?
Just chilling, fool. Fucking, doing.
You're talking about you heard Fred Stoller on that podcast?
Yeah, they were
the Nerdist?
Yeah, they were doing the All Things Comedy thing. Bill Burr, I'm out of trying to get him to do a podcast or whatever. And then he was just talking about like how he got into weed and like all this other bullshit that like. He was he went up to Joe Rogan and said that thank you very much for decriminalizing weed and I'm an older guy just trying to smoke weed, so I thought it was weird, but thank you very much. He's all, yeah, and Joe Rogan looked at me like I had AIDS or something and like a lesion on my face. So that was fucking funny as fuck, dog. But yeah, man,
we might have to edit that out now.
The story that went nowhere.
What's up, fool? Yeah, man. We're thinking about we might have a live podcast on our anniversary on April 1st, April Fool's Day in LA. So we might have
1 year, huh?
1 year, man. We might have we might invite Voodoo, bro. Maybe just a drummer. Play drums on the side.
Give some little rim shots and shit.
Give our cab ticket.
Free rides and shit. Yeah, man.
So how was the Sunset Room, bro? But sad people over there watching comedy?
It was cool, dude, the comedy, but just like, dude, this is the thing about stand-up, man. Like, dude, like, how many motherfuckers just straight fucking cry about people that made it or are successful or even just fucking working, and they're sitting in a parking lot, dude.
In Pomona.
And fucking talking about the same old shit. It's like fucking that scene in Donnie Brasco. The same scams, the same bullshit, dog. Crying about comedians. This guy stole this from me. This guy did this. I'm all, motherfucker, he stole that one joke and he stole your fucking dream. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Here's some Kleenex for you, dog. A fucking carton. So that was it, dog. Fucking
we're all crying?
Yeah, not all of them, but, a selected few and shit.
They would walk up to you, man. I had to do that joke before him.
Oh, yeah. And then at the end of the whole...
He's not even full Mexican doing those Mexican jokes.
And then at the end, it's like, hey, you think I could do the podcast?
We have a... We should get a mailing list for all the crying comedians at the Sunset Room and send them Andy Kindler's The Hack Starter Handbook.
Well, you know what? A lot of those fools need that thing, and they don't even know it exists, so it goes so far as what the fuck they don't even know they're talking about.
You want to hear something funny about this? Before it became a handbook, back in like 2002 or 3, it was just like before you could just find it on a webpage, it was printed out. And I printed it out on paper. We were at Save-Ons, and we're sitting at Winchell's Donuts.
Before Starbucks.
Yeah, and Willie Barstetta was writing jokes. And when he went to the restroom, we started reading some of his bits. I said, some of those jokes you're talking about are in this handbook, by the way. Because he was, like it says right here on the old one, not this handbook, but the old handbook, it says something about, some people might change the neighborhood, change the words from, yeah, man, when you live in a ghetto-ass neighborhood, as opposed to a white neighborhood, things are different, man. But he said, you have dogs from rich neighborhoods as opposed to Dog from the Hood, which is the same thing. And he got pissed off and he left us there, man. Fuck you guys.
You called him on his shit. The writing guru of everybody, dude, had just been found out and shit.
It's funny, man. I've been guilty of some of this stuff too, man.
And see, at least you're honest about that shit. Most fools walk around like they're fucking,
I read
Gandhi
this,
and shit.
I read it now, like I read it like it's funny to read, man, because everyone started off like this. Because I remember, like, most Latino comedians growing, and I'm not saying, I don't say most of them, they would just listen to a George Lopez hour, and then as soon as they listen to it, start writing jokes. Like, you don't think that something you're not gonna pick up something of George material, like when this comedian who say he loves George, but he don't like George talks about his grandmother being like this cynical lady, but this guy does. My mother's cynical.
And what's fucking crazy about that particular motherfucker, dude, is that he put out a CD and he did the same shit as the liner notes who we're talking about in the CD. And are you fucking retarded? It's like, dude, at least you can grab that handbook and look at it and laugh and go, you know what, dude? I can laugh at myself, dude. But dude, these fools out here, dude, fucking just crying like a motherfucker, dog. And dude, I remember this one fool, saying that like, dude, fucking, you're doing Paul Rodriguez and shit. Yeah, but I went through the same shit too, bro. Oh, god damn, the punchlines as well.
Like I remember this joke. This guy used to say, and you're gonna. We have a guest here, by the way, Andy Kindler, the writer.
I didn't know. I was going to lay back. I was waiting for the formal introduction. You may have seen it from here. Resume available upon request. Colleges and clubs. Author of the Hack Handbook.
He was a judge on Last Comic Standing in 2010.
That's right. With Felipe, when Felipe won.
Yeah,
dude.
He has done the annual State of the Industry address at the Just for Last Comedy Festival in Montreal for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, I'm trying to stop saying how many years it's been because then people could guess that I'm like probably 30, I'm 35 now. Maybe I'm 38, 40, 42, around there, maybe 50.
You play Ray,
75.
You play Ray's friend on fellow sports writer on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yes, residuals. They're down to $100 an episode. I'll take it. It's an annuity.
But before all that, my first time I ever saw you, and I remember your whole bit, you were on a young comedian stand-up show.
Yeah, with HBO.
HBO, and I remember you opened up and you said that, he goes, I'm a Jew. He goes, I walk around always being nervous because I'm a Jew. He goes, hey, you want to get a train ride? Fuck no.
That's not going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore, Stuttgart, Cleveland, Wiesbaden, Wiener Schnitzel.
And then you say, he goes, man, I hope I make it in comedy because I don't want to be that old, bitter comic. You're the old, bitter comic. You work on the road. He's always desperate, He goes, I had it all. Everything was great. He goes, I was on a Tonight Show. They told me not to say pussy. I said cunt. They kicked me off the network for 5 years.
Yeah, because the line was, don't say pussy, say vagina. Don't say pussy. I get in the show, I say cunt. I'm off network. 5. Now, I'm kind of known as a pretty clean comic, and this was like in 92, so I was agonized. I was like, oh my God, what will happen? But I was doing actual impersonation of a friend of mine who I worked on the road with, Rick Kearns. Everyone knows that's based on my friend Rick Kearns from Denver. I had 6 bacon and bean burritos. 10 minutes late for the show. They canceled the fucking week on me. I went to the bartender. I said, can I get an advance? He goes, how much? I go, I don't know. How much does an 8-ball go for in this town? They canceled the fucking week on me.
That's him? I've heard that story before. Joe Diaz told that story, dog.
Rick Kearns is a cool guy. He's from Denver, but we used to work on the road together. And I was just like, at the end of the night, I just can imagine you 30 years from now. And that's how it started. But I don't usually use the C word.
Yeah.
College. I'm sorry.
And when did you write that handbook?
That was written for National Lampoon back in 1991. It was just when you kids don't remember when there used to be a comedy boom, when you could do these hack jokes where you could go, everything was like with an attitude. And so my perfect prime example is steroids are just vitamins with an attitude. So, but it was based on the fact that this comedy boom, which had expanded so that there was more ATM, more comedy comedy clubs and ATMs in some cities, you know, that was just about to implode, and that's what this was all based on.
And if you had all these jokes from this handbook, you were working though.
That's the thing. I also worked with a couple of comics on the road during that time period who I was showing. They were reading the thing, and it was all in their act, and they were just like, they had no reaction to it.
Because I remember the old one. Hey, I just flew into town. Boy, do my arms hurt.
Right, but
Richard Bowser.
those are like back into the. And also, a lot of the times the jokes had a start. Like a lot of people, I've heard that Letterman was the first person to say, "What do you do for a living?" And they say, "Nothing." And he goes, "How do you know when you're done?" You know, that kind of thing. So there were probably the original people who did these jokes. But then the problem, what I wanted to do was show people that when you go in a club and someone says, "Hey, you working tonight? Well, get your feet off the stage." You would laugh if you first heard it. But
Yeah.
if you've been familiar with comedy, you know that's a hack thing. So I just want to identify people what a hack comedian was.
Yeah, like a fat guy goes up on stage and then they move the microphone.
Yeah, let me see it. So you can see me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
or remember before, like, hey, you start asking, like, I know a couple of comedians they all they say is oh man, I just make it up on stage.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. I do these different tricks. Like the comic who pretends it's off the top of his head. Oh, here's another bit. Wait a second, here's another bit I've been doing for 40 years. Oh, you know, or the comic who laughs at his own material. He goes, I can't help it. That stuff, it cracks me up. Or when they pretend the person in the front row is stupid. It doesn't matter if they could be a genius. You know, I was driving a car today. A car, sir, is a vehicle that you move. You know, it's like you have to have these different people, and you always know what someone's thinking. This guy over here is thinking, I wish I was that woman over there. The woman over there is like thinking, I wish I was in the front.
I know this comedian now, all he does is ask questions with the audience, but it's always the same people. Like, he'll ask a black guy a question. Black guys, you guys win all the gold medals. You know? And he does like hack stuff about black people. You guys run fast. But then he goes to a Mexican guy. Oh, you cholos. Writing on the wall.
Stabbing people.
Hey, what did you write in school with? What did you do your homework with? A spray can? You know, stuff like that. And then they do white people. White people, you guys have insurance, blah, 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 blah. You know?
Now, when you take someone like Rickles, who was the real deal and still is the real deal, a lot of people are trying to think they'll do take off on what he was doing, but what he was doing was like just in his own zone, you know. But of course, he wasn't hack, so. I'm sorry, did I bring everybody down? Did you have a bad experience with Rickles?
No.
Mr. Warmth.
We're waiting for a listener to Google him.
You don't know Don Rickles. You were in El Centro, where my wife grew up.
Yeah?
You did a show down there.
Yeah.
Did you have any good Mexican food? Hacienda? Did you go eat down there? It's the greatest food in the world.
Where we were like far away from everything.
Oh.
We were 30 minutes away from a Ralph's.
Well, El Centro is 2 hours away from anything.
Yeah, we were in El Centro, and we did a show at that place, the Barbara Worth Resort.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a historic place. My wife's dad was a lettuce farmer, so that's where she grew up, and is the greatest food. Really, is the greatest food I've ever had in my life at some of those places. That's why I was trying to get a message to you guys to eat there.
Yeah, we didn't go to that place. Me and Felipe and his wife took off, and it was me and Armando, and we went to this little hole in the wall place and ate some. We ate some menudo. It was bomb though. It was like super. I don't know what it was called. I don't remember.
There's a place called the Hacienda, which is the greatest. So
I've had great food in El Centro, but mostly at Coachella, because over there they grow lemons and oranges. They think they make love and they become their own orange and lemon, and they have great lemonade.
Is this your new food show? I heard about this.
Yeah.
Let the
It's
lemon
the Food Network.
saute the lemon till it makes
Food
love.
Network.
But it was scary because, man, at night it was pitch black.
Oh yeah, dude. You can only see the stars and shit.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't. Yeah.
I used to have a joke about that because I used to do shows over there, and I did the date festival. You know, they have the date festival. And I had a date festival joke. I said, "Yeah, man, they got people here with date butter, date cake. We got people next door in prison for date rape. Hey, now,
Hey, now people.
Be here all week.
but that's my date rape joke, people.
And don't write in about it.
But hell yeah, dude. Shout
Yeah,
out
they
to
took the
people.
microphone away from me at another show. I
For
did.
saying the date rape
No,
joke?
I did that. My brother's every time he comes out of prison, he always comes out worst. The first time he went to prison, he came out a racist Mexican, like he hated blacks for some reason. But the second time he came out even worse. He came out a Christian.
And they took the mic?
They took the microphone.
Who did
away
this?
from
Were you
him.
at a Christian retreat?
They were like a teachers union, but I guess the lady in charge was Christian.
Oh, that is ridiculous.
And they took my microphone away, like they just took it away, like
You
bye.
offended me.
Jesus would have not done that. I mean, I know him
You see what they
personally,
did to that guy? No.
No, he would not have done that. Jesus, on the other hand, am I right? This guy, you Jesus or Jesus? Come on. Lowrider this, something that. How many people are living in your apartment? Good night, everybody!
I remember this guy used to say this joke. He goes like this is my impersonation of a Mexican spelling bee. That's the way he did it. Can you spell Corona? And then he'll go like this with a spray can.
Now, was he Mexican?
Yes.
People will sell
Puerto Rican.
People will sell out their own race, anything for a laugh. It just doesn't matter because they'll say it's all having fun. I'm taking these stereotypes from 40 years. Like Bill Maher does that. He does Barack Obama is all of a sudden from the 60s, and Barack Obama's at the White House going, I don't want to go. It's like this guy is. Don't get me started on Bill Maher.
This guy is what,
those,
Andy?
I'll be like those guys in the parking lot. How come he has a show with that tired crap? He laughs during the joke. He laughs after the joke. He laughs on the way to the bank to put his stupid money in.
Okay, Dr. Giggles.
Dr. Giggles.
But there's a lot of that in New York too, like Italian comedians doing Italian stereotypes.
Right. Yeah. It's like, obviously, now I'm Jewish. I would never talk about it except every other joke my entire life. But, with me, it's different. No, but I mean, we all use our ethnic backgrounds, and that's cool. But if you go too far with it, then you just like obviously not too far with it. But if you're using like a crutch, then who needs it?
It's all just pigeonholed and just cliche, right?
Right. I mean, I'm Jewish, but I'm not a practicing Jew because I've got it down. That was on my Letterman spot. You can still see it on YouTube.
Like me, I say I don't like the stereotypes about all Mexicans. No, we're not all hard workers. I call it stick to an interview.
Now, see, he goes the other way.
The other way, opposite.
Influenced by me.
Yes.
That's what I'd like to. His mentor. His last comic standing mentor.
Yeah, man. When I saw you on the show, when I first showed up on Last Comic Standing, and I knew Natasha Leggero from Premium Blend. We did Premium Blend and the Montreal. Then I saw Greg Giraldo and I saw you. I said, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be I got a little nervous. The handbook came in handy.
Well, to be totally honest with you, those Giraldo loved. I mean, I miss him so much, but he loved you. And so at the beginning, I was a little bit nervous. Because I have my is he going to go into stereotypes? But then you just were so hilarious, and I still remember what's the joke about the oven thing?
Not from the oven. Yeah, my dad, he used to walk around the whole neighborhood and collect old furniture and bring it home and fix it like MacGyver with duct tape. One time he brought a television home. I said, damn, that TV has 500 channels. When I got older, it didn't have 500 channels. It was a knob from the oven.
And you got press from that joke back
My
in the
first
day.
channel was 300 Degrees.
Entertainment Weekly,
Yeah.
right?
I loved it. So I was won over immediately, and now I have T-shirts.
All right.
I got Felipe'd.
I remember that I used to love that joke you used to do. The other joke you did on the Young Comedian show was, man, I bought this shirt for $5. At that price, I could afford not to like it.
It's so funny because I had a friend in the old days. I had my friend. He actually typed up every TV appearance, and that was one joke. I just couldn't stop doing that joke. $6, I can afford not to like it. I did it on 9 shows, and I realized I got to drop it. But I'll bring it back now because at that price, I can afford not to like it. I don't know why you did the joke, and I had to do it 12 times after you.
Then you said that the one about the bitter color was funny. He goes, I was working somewhere. He goes, the bartender caught me doing blow. I asked him if he wanted a bump. He spilled like a canary.
Yeah, that's from the same Rick Kearns day. Yeah,
He spilled like a canary.
Yeah.
He sounded like a canary.
he sung like a canary. I asked him for a bump. He sung like a canary to the club owner. They canceled the fucking week on me.
You ever been canceled for a week?
Well, I've been in the old days, in the mid '90s, when comedy was so hack. I would often be not for my behavior, but because I wasn't going over well. I would say prorate me. So, like in Chicago once, they sent me home after the Friday night, and they put someone else in for the Saturday. Prorate me. I will agree to leave early. So that's happened to me before. I've also closed a lot of rooms. The next week is not there, the room. It's happened to me 5 times.
Pip's Comedy Club.
I didn't close that one, but...
I have a question for you. So when that shit was going on, the comedy boom was going on, everybody's doing that hacky shit, fucking take my wife, please, whatever the fuck.
Well, Fred Stoller said, too, that he had a friend, and then you mentioned right there, he had a great car, but all his jokes were like hacky, but he was working a lot.
He could drive.
He could drive.
That's even in the thing, right?
His friend, Vinny.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could drive someone, I used to work back in New York. I used to work with a guy named Tony Camacho, and that's how he first booked me. I picked up because I would stay with my parents. I started comedy in L.A. even though I'm from New York, but I would go and stay back with my parents in Queens, who were antique dealers. So I used to have a joke when you're staying with your parents, they're antique dealers. You go, hold on a second, I have to change quills. I'll be right back. And you can't conduct business. My inkwell is dry, so then I would use their car.
Well.
And then I would pick up all the other comics, and that's how you got work when you started, yeah. But that's what you asked me.
And the material that you were doing, though, that they would, like, stop you in midweek and then send you home, because you weren't doing that, you know.
Well, when I first started, I was lucky, and I feel I was lucky in the way, because when I first started, I really hadn't seen a lot of stand-up. I think it's harder when you've seen a lot of stand-up. So my first few years were so terrible, but there's no record of it. Like, I had acid wash jeans, acid wash shirt. I was single. I would try to pick up women from the stage. Look at me. It's terrible. I always tell my wife, if I had been more attractive, I'd be dead. In a clinic blind. But no, so unknowingly I did bad material, but then when I started to find out what I wanted to be, then I just couldn't get work in these clubs because there were too many clubs, and so they only booked crowd-pleasing people, and so that's when I started to really hone in on what was the hackiest stuff going on. And yeah, I couldn't, that's why I get sent home, because I wasn't a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, in essence, that's what I'm saying. You were a crowd-pleasing comedian, you have crowd-pleasing material, so it's like...
Or anybody in the crowd. I mean, I've walked a room. There used to be a room called the Funny Firm, which is Bill Hicks's favorite place at one point, but then the room turned. They gave it away. You know how they say they give away the room, they paper the room,
yeah.
You know, so nobody has to. That's happened a lot of nights.
Military night.
They go, they call up and go, hi, you've won our answer the phone contest. Would you like to bring you and 75 people no less than you about comedy? And my whole gripe was that they go, well, who's playing? Who cares? It's comedy. It's like going to a movie theater. Let's go to the movie tonight. What's playing? Who cares? You like movies? Check it out. So yeah, it'd be like nobody knew who and that's the thing too. You couldn't click on an act. You couldn't click and see what the act was. So these people would come to the Funny Bone, wherever it be. They would come every week thinking that the guy who's doing ventriloquism is going to be the same as me talking about politics or something. I don't talk about politics. Don't worry, folks. But so that's why. Got sent home a lot. Or didn't get booked is really what happened.
Why did you start in L.A. and not East Coast?
Because I was I moved out here to be a musician before I was even a comedian.
You're a musician? What do you play?
Guitar. And when I was a little kid, I played violin. I hated it, but then it took me 10 more years to quit because I had issues. I made my violin teacher like my mother. I can't disappoint her. Meanwhile, my dad every night would come up and say, who's killing a dead cat? And that didn't make any sense to me. Why would the cat be dead already? So that's what my dad said when I would be... So then I switched to guitar when I was 16, and I wanted to be like the Beatles, and then I came out to L.A. to do that.
So you were playing out here in Hollywood?
But not even that. It was terrible because I don't know about you, but when I was in my 20s or early, I was just so insecure. I should have been going to these showcase places, but I played like top 40 for 2 years. It was really depressing. It was during the early 80s, so we were playing Girls, They Want to Have Fun.
I'll tumble for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Boy George. Oh, that's another like
Studio.
Yeah. Well, we didn't play that. It's too. I wouldn't go that route. And then I just stumbled. Like one story I always tell is like I was in a band called Transfusion. This is absolutely true. We thought we were going
for a band though.
Right, but we thought we were going beyond fusion. That was our goal, but we couldn't even play fusion. So people thought we were like a heavy metal band. So we got booked to this place, and they kept saying turn it, and they hated us. So I started to banter with the crowd. I swear to God, the club owner sent me up a note, and the note said, "Cut the chatter." And then not long after that, I stumbled into comedy.
How'd you stumble into it?
A friend of mine, his name was Bill, still a good friend of mine. I was at a company I used to sell stereos. This is before your time, University Stereo.
Leo Stereos?
It was kind of like that, Rogers.
Federated.
Yeah, and you could make money. I mean, it was don't go if you were from that time period. You probably got ripped off. Hopefully not by me. But my friend Bill, he said, "Hey, I was doing impressions at a picnic of all the people." He said, let's try it. So actually, it was a godsend because I started with him for 2 years, and so that because it's so horrible when you start. I don't know how you felt, but I was like the worst when I started. I was like, when I went on my own, I actually literally cried after a set.
Me too. My first time, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, man. I just went to an open mic on Fountain, the Natural Fudge. And it was a vegan restaurant. I didn't know what vegan was. I didn't know what a vegetarian was. I just know that guy kept saying, "Have you tried a nut burger?"
That was one of the comics?
Yeah, that was the host, Johnny something. Johnny Roberts, and his wife was some other lady named Roberts. It's a funny story. When Johnny Roberts died, he was like the host of the local access show, the Johnny Roberts Comedy Hour. He'll put local acts, Brian Holtzman, people like that, Jamie Kennedy. He was the first comic I met. So then the lady died, and then Jamie Kennedy tells me, "You should go over there and tell his wife, it's sad that he died." And when I get there, his wife was making out with one of the Mexican cooks on top of the bar, bro.
She always wanted kids.
Try the nut burger, guys.
It's on top of the bar that really went too far. You know what I'm saying? Keep that in the back room where you keep the soda.
He's not even buried yet. She's right there crying, making out with a Mexican cook.
Body's still warm and shit.
Well, that's amazing because I started at a place called the Deli Smoker, which was maybe the worst deli I've ever been into. It was in the Ventura Boulevard, and the guy who ran the room his name was Say, and he would give you notes, but all he wanted to do was to try his joke out. He had one joke, and he'd say, "You guys are pretty good, but you need more jokes." And so his joke was, because he was working in a deli. He goes, "I'm in a deli. You people are like unborn children. You keep saying, feed us. Feed us." That was his joke.
Oh my God, dude.
Then there was another joke. There's jokes I can't get out of my mind that were so bad. There was a comic. He was a very nice guy. But his joke was, this woman kept saying to me, "Leave me alone. Leave me alone." I said, "How much?" Like a loan? Oh, so it's like a joke. You can't get jokes like that out of your brain.
Bro,
leave me alone. Leave me alone. How much? God bless comedy.
Bada bing.
Bada boom.
I knew a Puerto Rican comedian who doesn't do comedy no more. He used to do this joke. It was a hacky ass joke. He had to go on stage and go like this. "Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. You don't believe me? This is a key to my house," and he'll take out a prop. It was a big hook, like an ice hook, to pick up ice. Ice pick. "This is a key to my house." And then he'll go like this. And nobody laughing. He goes, "You're not laughing. This is the key for me to get into your house." And then he'll do that bit with a hook. So the one comedian one day asked him, "Hey, bro, you still doing that joke? Which one? The joke with a hook? You should do it, bro, but it's summertime. You should say, 'Hey, have you guys heard my I know what you did last summer' joke?'"
Son of a gun, dude.
Oh,
the hook.
You need a hook.
What's the funniest prop comics you met? Because you mentioned a lot of prop comics here about you put on glasses, you're instant Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Well, actually, there was a guy who was very good at it. His name was The Amazing Wid. He was in Philadelphia. But I've been doing this bit where I do like, how come they don't have all comedy radio? Like they have all rock. It's classic comedy for the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Tonight it's going to be prop comedy. Imagine if you could see what these people are holding. I'll describe it to you. Carrot Top, very funny. He's holding up a toaster with a tennis racket, and I guess it's pretty funny. If you want to eat in the court, that would be what happened.
Shoot me a couple of those bread slices.
I get hungry. I used to like Carrot Top. I go, I got lots of stuff. That would be what he'd say afterwards. Hey, let's say you want to have your coffee on the court. You have your own cup holder, and then he has a cup holder tied to his side. Boom.
Did you ever do like a Hitler doing stand-up comedy?
I was doing actually a guy recently, Hitler, I used to here's my impression of a network television executive during World War II. Look, I don't like Hitler. I'm Jewish. He's going to have me killed in a week. But the kids love him. What do you want me to do? The numbers are great. He's going to have me killed, but I can't argue with success. The kids love the brown shirts. They like the boots.
That insignia.
The swastikas are going like hot cakes, hot fascist cakes. But I was doing like a roast for Hitler. I was kind of like, oh, look at Goebbels over here. Well, I'm sorry, Goebbels. Don't put me away now. But no, someone was doing. Ron Lynch was doing like famous people getting roasted, like Saddam Hussein and that kind of a thing. I think I have ADD. Look at my mind. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
My fifth grade teacher, Mr. Wright. He was like my fifth period teacher. He was a math teacher, and he used to like always get the crowd to shut up by imitating Hitler. And he'll do Hitler doing jokes, Mr. Wright.
What was one of them?
No, he'll take off his glasses and he'll start combing his hair to the side and use his comb as a mustache.
It could never fly. No, I think it's great. I used to do my impression though. I said like when Dane Cook first got popular, I said this Dane Cook thing. I don't understand it. It reminds me of Germany in the '30s. You know, there's a guy. He's yelling. All your friends like him. You can't figure out what he's doing. But actually, Dane Cook is worse than Hitler because at least Hitler had a point of view. Uh-oh, uncomfortable laugh. Is he coming in next? And all of a sudden he came out with his own font. Dane Cook's own font. Sans Comic.
Oh my God.
Well, Comic Sans is a thing, so Sans Com means without comedy. So, anyway, by Dane Cook, these are cold on the presses. Nothing more current. You know, Jay Leno has a car that runs on the energy of all the people's dreams that he's crushed.
Not my fault. It's not my fault. Oh my God, dude.
When you start off the car, you go, hell no. Hell no.
Oh my God.
What is that from? What is that one from?
There's this comedian, he used to have a joke.
You have it all in your head.
This comedian used to have a joke. He goes, imagine, man, when your car breaks down, man, that shit starts talking to you, huh? Hell no.
Oh, I love it. You could have written this book. You could have written an update of
Juan Dexter.
Stuff.
Yeah, man, I could, man. There's a lot of comedians out there, man, who like a lot of Latino comedians, they start talking about the same stuff that Paul Rodriguez talked about.
Yeah.
And you try to call them on it, and they go, bro, Paul Rodriguez talked about that. Yeah, bro, but that's my experience too. Yeah, but he said it 20 years before you.
Parallel development.
Yes.
30 years later.
Then people say, but great minds think alike. Yeah, but not at the same time.
Yeah. Why don't they go back further to like Freddie Prinze so it's harder to trace? At least.
Or Jose Jimenez.
My name? I don't think he was. Was he actually
no, he's
Bill
Jewish.
Dana?
Bill Dana was Jewish, huh?
Yeah, that's not good.
My name is Jose Jimenez.
That was a nice time period in the United States. Look at that funny guy doing a Latin voice. Those people are so delicious.
And did you grow up Jewish and all that?
I did. That was not just a bit. I grew up Jewish, but I was a Reformed Jew, which is a very not that intense.
Not like, crazy Orthodox.
Not crazy Orthodox. I didn't wear a yarmulke. I didn't go observe the holidays. I wasn't kosher. No, it was none of those things. And then when I was 16, my mom, she converted to become a Quaker, which is actually a cool religion, but we don't want to go there because...
Quaker Jew?
Yeah, no, she didn't call herself Quaker Jew. Quaker Jew. Quaker Jew. The new...
Quaku.
The new board game from Milton Bradley. Quaker Jew. I'll be the Jew. I'll be the Quaker. Okay. Well, a lot of bits don't have to end with something good. You know what I'm saying? Just look where I could be going with it.
Hey!
Then blame the crowd. It's your problem, you idiots. That's what I did for about 8 years.
What do you think about these comedians now who are coming out pretty racist on stage?
I don't.
But like Adam, you criticize Adam Carolla?
Well, that's the thing. I have a whole thing with all these guys, like Carolla, because Carolla. And people love. I mean, I don't really know him from Loveline. And
I don't never listen to it. So I just know him from the radio. I thought he was a disc jockey.
Right, but then when he got his own, he was disc jockey. But then when he got his own,
show, right?
The Man Show, and that was with Kimmel. But when he got his own thing, which is like his own podcast, then he just started saying these things that were like, if you can find them online. Like he talks about Mexican people online. He thinks Mexicans are coming up to steal our culture. Because they don't have any culture.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mexico is from a million different places. So how do you even say with a Mexican? You know, they're from Spain. They're from there's Native, there's Indian, Native American Indians, whatever. So he's like, but that's what he does, and it's not. My thing is, it's not funny. If you're funny, I don't care what you're saying.
Right.
You know, like someone like you could make a rule. That's why you can't make rules, because you make rules, all of a sudden there's like someone like David Tell who's hilarious and will say every politically incorrect thing. So I'm not on that thing about like banning people or anything. But it's just like I called it out that this was racism, and his fans didn't enjoy that.
A very condescending way of to portray a people or whatever. And like the last pissed off white dude going, Jesus Christ, these fucking immigrants are filling up the DMV, and they're all turning red and taking our culture and driving. And
if you hear it, you'll see there's no joke. There's no jokes about it.
And it's like, didn't you grow up in LA, motherfucker?
Like that's not even a funny joke, because that joke doesn't lead nowhere. Unlike the pit bull of comedy,
Bobby Slayton.
Bobby Slayton has a great Mexican joke. He goes, I don't understand. He goes, Mexicans come over here to America and they clean houses, they clean your house, they clean my houses. You go to fucking Mexico, it's all fucking dirty. Some of them should stay back over there, clean first, then come over here.
Right. See, if you're laughing, you don't care what the thing. I mean, because it's coming from a pure place.
Yeah.
Where it's, I mean, it is like a place of like love or joy or whatever. You can tell what someone's intention is. He did the same thing, Corolla, with like, maybe black people always complain they're not picked up by cab drivers. Maybe the cab drivers know something. I mean, these are all things that are online.
And that's an old hacky joke, too.
Yeah, but it's like you could listen to this stuff, and it's like there's no comedy in it. It's just him being angry.
Yeah, and it seems to me that he's trying to grab that last vestige of, the GOP hard right type people.
He is, because he goes
that
on.
Way, those are numbers, and he's picking a side and all that other bullshit. So it's kind of like an angle in essence.
I know, it's so weird when
I got turned off that shit, and I was like, I'm good on.
When you see someone on Bill O'Reilly, like Dennis Miller from Bill O'Reilly, they're opening up for Dennis Miller was like considered the greatest comic in the world. Now he's opening up for Bill O'Reilly, and he's on a right wing radio show, which I can't stop listening to. I'm driving home at night because he does these commercials. Man, Dennis Miller for Smart Mouth. Yeah, it's breath. Is that really where he saw himself going?
I know.
Yeah, you got a smart mouth. I got a smart mouth. It's a breath, and he hates everything, so he can't sell anything.
The funniest thing when he was on Monday Night Football, he would throw out references that nobody got. He's running the ball like the charge of the Tasmanian
This guy's
bear.
like, crime and punishment with Kalashnikov. This guy is making less yards than Napoleon when he went over the thing with the Custer and the bing, bang, bang. It's all references.
Oh, yeah.
That ball was stuck in the air like the Cold War.
He catches like a girl, like Susan B. Anthony.
It's like reference A plus reference B, and all of a sudden we're in Area C with this guy. But you know Al Michaels is a buffoon because he still quotes Dennis Miller every once in a while. That's how taken he was. Al Michaels.
He was in awe when he was there. Jesus.
Al Michaels has a hacky sports voice that he doesn't realize is it should be hacky.
Especially if you want to watch you play the game Madden. I play Madden. His voice is always on it. He'll say like obvious stuff like they're gonna do a lot of talking during spring. I know that.
Is that Al Michaels is on the Madden game?
Yeah.
Oh God! So think the fact that he got paid for that. Oh my God! He doesn't have enough cash. I can't stand that.
A mule couldn't have kicked that ball. That's one of the references.
Well, he's with Chris Collins. Is he with Chris Collins?
Yes, Chris Collins.
Oh, that is the worst two people to listen to. I like the ESPN guys. Like, was it Gruden and as everyone falls asleep on
Gruden and Warren Sapp on NFL. Well, he's gone.
Not anymore, huh?
And we'll be back. We'll be back with three guys who don't know much about sports. No, I'm a big.
You're a big sports
guy.
fan. You're a big
I do.
you love the Dodgers, or who's your team?
Well, I grew up in New York, so I'm a Mets-Jets fan. But as the years go by, I realized I can never be on sports radio because you have to know like the current players, what the teams currently are.
You gotta talk about Kim Kardashian every once in a while. Throw it in.
Yeah,
there.
throw in your like Kim Kardashian. Who's this? Like Paris Hilton? All of a sudden went out to another celebrity's area and did this thing. Obscure reference C.
Not like old school, man. When you know personal stuff about the player, you throw it in there.
I know.
Like Howard Cosell.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
He's big. He's at the 40, the 50. Speaking at the 50, he had a 50 bench warrant for beating up his wife last night, and that is the story.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are wondering, Felipe was doing Howard Cosell.
I was doing John Turturro as Howard Cosell.
Yeah, I was funny when you were doing that shit. I was thinking about that shit. So you're like, you go back to the Mighty Mets and Joe Namath type Jets, right?
My wife says, please stop telling people how old you are. I said, well, they can find it out online. Well, then let them click. Don't have to say I'll have the pasta primavera. I'm in my late 50s.
You look great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I was actually at the 1968 AFL championship game when Joe Namath and they beat the Oakland Raiders. That's how old I am. But that's why I saw the Jets win on the way to the Super Bowl, which was in January of '69, and the Mets won in '69, and the Knicks won in '69. Everything was happening for me when I was 14.
Oh, New York was at its greatest peak.
I remember saying, I said, God, this is all I want. I'll never ask you for anything again after this. And then 3 years later, God damn it, the Jets! God damn it, them!
You busted your violin.
But I believe I root for the Jets still.
That was in, and actually that was in. They played. You remind me of that character in Men in Black 3. Because they asked him to go to his happiest spot, and his happiest spot was in 1969 when the Mets won the World Series, and he was at that game in Men in Black 3.
I was at the World Series game. My brother doesn't even remember this. I went to Game 4 because our neighbors couldn't go, so we sat in the left field, outfield when the Mets won in 5 games against the ball. And we'll be back with more old man Jew and his memories.
That shit's awesome. When your team fucking wins,
Dude,
you're in the stands.
even if they lose, man.
Adrenaline to the
I
core.
met Reggie Jackson in Northern California. He was eating in a restaurant, and this other comedian walked up to me. Oh my God, Reggie Jackson! I'm a Dodger fan. I don't know what to say, but I was still happy to meet him. And I shook his hand, and I said, when I was a little kid, I saw Bob Welch strike you out in the World Series.
And what did he say?
Oh, he pushed my hand away.
He did?
Yeah, and then my friend said, but you came back the next day, Reggie, and hit 3 home runs. He looked at my friend and he said, I was there. Tell him that.
Well, that's pretty funny, though, right?
But I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Well, what you said really got on his good side there.
Cool, put down.
I saw you get struck out. My biggest regret in my life, though, was I was a Muhammad Ali. He was my hero. And the biggest regret in my life was I was so afraid to see him fight Foreman. And I don't know if you remember closed circuit. They used to have closed circuit TV. So all my friends went down there. I said, I can't watch this because I thought he was going to get pummeled. And he won. And so I've watched it 80,000 times. But that's how much I love Muhammad Ali. That I was like, I'll cry if he gets beat.
I remember a little kid, man, when I was growing up, he couldn't pronounce Muhammad Ali, the little Mexican kid. He goes, Mahama, Hama, Hama, Hama. He never said the Ali part. I used to love Muhammad Ali. I remember there was a comic book. It was like a giant comic book. It was Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
Oh, I think
remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. That was so cool. Well, they even did a thing where they had Muhammad Ali fight Rocky Marciano, but like with a computer thing. So it was like crazy. Those were back in the days before video games.
Is that how you got on Ray Romano? Because you know a lot of sports?
Yeah. No. The only reason I got that part is the only reason why I get any part is the writers I was friends with and they wrote the part for me. Otherwise, if I audition, forget about it. I'm sweating. I'm saying you people can tell I can't act, right? You want me to try it again? Even more sweaty? Do you want me to stop looking into the camera at some point? I'm used to working stand-up.
It's always the best when a writer knows you, he writes the part for you.
Yeah, and they named me Andy. I mean, come on. Yeah, There's no way it could go wrong. Hey, Sid. Well, who's this talking to? Sid. What is he saying? Sid. Oh, that's me. Yes, I am Sid.
Oh my God. That what happened to me. I did a Honda commercial for Honda last year, and the guy who wrote the commercial, he wrote it for me. I didn't have an audition. They just called me up. You want to be in a Honda commercial?
Oh, man.
And I said, yes.
And it was fun, right?
Yeah, and it was in Spanish. El totalmente Honda fit, un buen fit para ti. Yesterday I was buying a mango and a fruit cocktail from a fruit vendor, and he was making my fruit cocktail with mango, pepino, cucumbers, all the stuff, watermelon, and there was a woman there eating her fruit cocktail right in front of him, and he asked her in Spanish, do you know who that is? And then he goes, guess. I'll give you a hint. Ho, 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 ho. And the girl said, no sé, I don't know who that is. But that was my laugh on a commercial. That was her hit.
That's so great.
Because I said, fixing your fixies. He goes, no, we're just going to the supermarket. Then I laugh after the line. Ho, 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 ho.
It's so great. I'll give you a hint. No, I had the opposite experience. I got booked for this commercial where they wanted like a Dennis Leary type. So they decided to cast me, and they wanted someone handsome. So they fly me out to the desert. They go shopping, and they have. I wish I had the picture. Me with like aviator sunglasses. Like they spent 12 hours trying to make me handsome.
Make you look cool.
that didn't work. And then there was all these things about a car. And they were all disconnected things. Like, you want a torsion spizzer? How about this? 6 bucket seats? I'm talking about this under the hood. What's happening with the carburetor? So anyway, they had the way the commercial started was they all, because it's film days, they all ran up to me, close up, and I could not get the lines down at all because they made no sense. You want a car? Windshield. And then they had, we got to do it again. And then I would see them talking about me huddled in the corner. They replaced me. They replaced me.
What?
But I got a good. They bought me out. So I think
they flew in a guy in a helicopter to get you.
They flew. Well, they wanted to. This is the thing. It's like you're not gonna get Dennis. We want Dennis Leary, but we want to pay $4. Maybe Andy Kindler could do it.
Did you ever hear that story? Because Greg Giraldo told me when I first met him. Because I worked with Greg Giraldo and Gene Pompa.
Oh, I love Pompa.
At the Addison Improv many years ago. They were co-headliner or featuring, and I was opening, and he told me the joke about some guy that did an anti-Semitic joke on a boat, and they came to go grab him. I think it's Peter Fogelman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That? Is that true?
Well, no, I don't know if it was. Yes, they have helicopter comedians off of ships.
Damn.
Absolutely. You are gone.
They just grab you, huh?
Especially during the days where, I guess in the old days, the cruise ships, you had to be really, really, clean. But I'll never forget this Gene Pompa story because this is the funniest thing he ever did.
Hey, little bear.
I was. We did this gig up in San Luis Obispo, and there was only one good room left and one convention room in the hotel. So Gene Pompa says, "Well, my wife's coming up with me tomorrow. I mean, I don't know if Andy's what he's doing." So they gave him this room. He wasn't even married. This was he lied to get a better room.
Yep.
And I couldn't believe it. I was sleeping in this room where they were holding a convention in the day. I just thought that was so funny. I would just yell at him. I've been yelling at him ever since for that. My wife's coming up tomorrow, so I should get the one room. You're not married, Gene.
Damn.
He upgraded.
Funny, he's so funny.
That's a good one, man. I almost always do that now. I heard from another comedian that Tom Papa, everywhere he checks in, he asks the people there, am I due for an upgrade?
Yes, I like that.
Because sometimes the club or the people you're working with deal with the hotel over the years, so they have stars, or they're due upgrades. So you just ask. I'm gonna start asking now.
The worst thing they can say is no, and the best thing's we got a presidential suite opened up for you.
Well,
I'll take it.
You know what I do to avoid the paparazzi when I check into a hotel? I check in under my own name. Works like a charm. Nobody comes to the room.
Andy from Queens.
I worked
with Paul Rodriguez, and he did a fake name too. He said he was registered under John Wesley.
I think he's from El Centro.
Who, Paul Rodriguez?
I think he is, because I talked to him about it once. I'm just showing that you guys, I have street cred. You guys don't think I do. But I'm from the hood.
The There's a guy that used to book comedy in El Centro. He lives in Denver now. What's his name? Papa Chulo.
Papa Chulo.
Wow.
Papa Chulo. No, Papa Chulo.
Tony.
Yeah, his name is Tony.
Yeah,
Tony
Oh.
something. Papa Chulo.
I never played El Centro.
It's hot over there.
God damn.
Yeah.
Devilish hot. Devilish heat.
So you gotta.
Was it the desert? That's the
How do you come
Who
up
doesn't
with-
know why things are. What is it, like a desert? I'm out in that.
Tumbleweed.
It's dessert.
Yeah.
El Centro, no dessert. Let me tell you.
Full every time.
How do you come up with these speeches you do every year at the Montreal, the State of the Industry? I was there in 04. No, yeah, 04 when I heard some of it.
Yeah, it's like the greatest thing I've ever done, but it's also the hardest thing because every year I have to come up with basically an hour of new material. And so part of it is, it actually got me to do things disciplined for the first time in my life. So like if I come up with a comedy idea, I write down the date that I came up with the idea. So that was the first breakthrough. And so I know anything after the last year's festival that I can use for the next year's festival. So about 20 minutes is actual jokes I've come up with during the year about the industry or comics, and then I have to write stuff. So that's always hit and miss because sometimes it just doesn't work or whatever.
That's like a lot of comedians. Like when I right after Last Comic Standing, when I won the money, the next day one of my baby mamas filed for child support.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. And so I told NBC, hold on to that check so I could get incorporated or something. So that the check was delayed and I was cash poor like for 2 months. I had no money still.
The fact that you're saying this on the radio, that's not no, everything's cool.
Yeah. And what was my point?
Oh, about coming up with new material or coming up with...
No, I already forgot.
No,
Let's move on.
Welcome to my world.
No, what I was talking about was that let's see.
So what happened to you after you won Last Comic Standing, and then fucking she filed for child support right away? And hey, you guys keep that check for a little while till you incorporate yourself.
And then you had to do a speech in Montreal. Is that it?
No, but you were talking about something before that I was going to mention something about it. But
we're not even stoned, huh, dog?
no, man. I went to a dentist and I haven't smoked since I went to a dentist.
Edible style.
I went to a dentist and I had like oral cleaning on my mouth.
Right.
I had like 9 shots on my gums
To numb you up and shit?
to numb me up, and they were drilling, man. It was sad.
Did you have nitrous at least?
I don't know what that is.
Laughing gas.
No, man. Just shots. I took like a shot on my back of my gum, on top of my nose.
But that's just to numb you so they can work on you.
Yeah, to
drill,
numb me.
scrape and all
Yeah.
that shit.
I
And
was
you
awake.
smoked pot then, or you
No,
quit?
I quit, man, for like 3 days after that.
Oh, that's wow.
It's tough,
a
man.
rough situation.
So I've been smoking no pot. I've been eating edibles.
Yeah, well, that's the way to go. I'm
You
afraid
smoke pot?
I do. The character of Andy Kindler might smoke pot. I say this for insurance purposes, but I'm afraid to have a car. I'm like a typical paranoid Jewish person. What if I have a car and then they mess with my insurance one day?
Oh, my point was this about your state of the industry, and was this like a lot of young comics, like they get involved with they act like I need a manager. I gotta have a manager. But, if you're not really working hard on yourself, you don't need a manager.
Yeah.
You're always going to be a lazy comedian. So one of the managers, I had to dump him because his thing was, how many followers on Twitter do you have? Are you fucking serious?
That's so terrible.
Like, I know people who have 65,000 followers and none of them show up to the show.
Right.
Because that doesn't mean anything,
Yeah, it's also just like the
Who's a bigger dick?
Well, I think the thing you're saying though is really true though about in general. I've met so many comedians who are so worried about where their career is, where you should just worry about where your
jokes are,
just where your act is, and then you tend to like attract people. You'll attract managers that way as opposed to. And I know all the managers because I'm Jewish, so I know.
And eventually people start talking, right? And shit starts cracking off what you're doing.
But a lot of people, they worry. If you're worried, or they'll do like a project and they'll worry, what happened to that project? What happened to that project? It's like it's not like you ever get in Hollywood, you ever get like blackballed, but it's just like everyone has a short memory. They don't remember that you would ever, and so you just have to keep doing it because you love to do it. But you can't talk to people sometimes because they have it in their mind, like, if I just have the right manager,
if I just put the right vine.
Yes, I get the right vine. I had a lot of Vine meetings. First I sent him a sizzle reel. It's like all my classic Vines. I had the one where I drink something, I think it's good, but I go, ooh, not so good. Then you have these Vine meetings, and they go, can they be shorter, maybe? Does it have to be 6 seconds?
Sizzle reel.
Where do you see, if you don't get them in the first half a second, where do you see these Vines in 6 years? Do you do Vine? Do you do Instagram?
I have horrible Vines. My Vines suck. I need a tutorial for Vines.
But now fucking Twitter has video and all that shit, so even Instagram.
I do Instagram, like every once in a while. I get one of my jokes and I make a meme on about it before anybody else does.
For a while, somebody was fucking hacking.
Like
your
all the
ass
80s jokes, all the 80s comedians, all the cult comedians for the old 80s jokes are now all memes. They're all memes.
Because they were memeing you for a while,
Yeah.
dude.
But what was it? No, I don't even know I know what the word means, but it's like, was that when you have like a
picture with a
with
joke?
words? Yeah.
Like I think the most hacked person is Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
You get all these hood rats, all these other little sluts from Boyle Heights, from East LA, from Norwalk. If you don't like me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Is that like a Marilyn Monroe
Yes,
quote?
a Marilyn Monroe quote. But every whore in Los Angeles quotes that without giving her props.
It's my lady, dog.
Or another one that every politician takes. I'd rather die on my feet than to die begging on my knees. That comes from Emiliano Zapata, a Mexican revolutionary, but everybody does that.
Viva Zapata.
Viva Zapata. There you go.
Wait, he was the one who got Mexico independent, right?
Yes.
I hope some of these things are true, right?
Yes. Him and Pancho Villa and Hidalgo something.
No, he was from the south, Pancho Villa's from the north, and they were just leading, the anti-government movement at that time.
But didn't like Marlon Brando or somebody white play him in a movie?
Viva Zapata.
Marlon Brando plays Zapata, and then Oliver Quinn, Anthony Quinn plays his brother, plays Emiliano Zapata, right? And Homeboy plays Pancho Villa, right?
That's so good. I love when white people play Gandhi.
Lawrence Zapata.
Or they play Martin Luther King. I like white versions of Martin Luther King. Those are the best. I have a dream that one day I may not get there with you. From the hills of Allegheny.
That's what I would like to see, man. An Aborigine guy play JFK.
I'm so sick of all these Aborigines taking my roles. I'm sick of it. Enough with the Aborigine casting.
We're not being represented in Hollywood right.
When is a Jew going to get a break in this town? They say we control the media, but I don't have those contacts.
Hey, what's up with all that bullshit?
About Jews controlling the media? Well, it's probably because it's true. It's one of those things like anti-Semitism. There's always a way for someone to figure out how to be anti-Semitic. There's so much literature about it.
That was my teacher, Richard Wright, who was my Mr. Wright would do. He'll put the comb on his head, he'll like get the Hitler haircut down, and then put the comb right on his mustache, like a Hitler mustache, and he'll do a bit about if Hitler was a comedian, two Jews walk into a bar, and they were never seen again.
Did anyone ever stop him?
No.
But he was funny, though. He sounded like he was funny. Yeah, so it didn't matter.
But most of the kids that were in his class were actually ditching in his class.
Why?
Because everybody used to go to his class just to hang out, and he was okay with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy
like a cool
sounds
teacher.
He was one of the old teachers, man, that just wanted to just be in the classroom, collect his paycheck, and go home.
Did he ever make movies? Because he sounds...
No. Actually, one time he shook me real hard and left a mark on my arm, and I told my dad, and my dad showed up, bro, for fucking where to kick my ass for him skipping work to come to the school. Like, he came up to me, what the hell did you do?
Why'd he shake your ass though?
Oh, because I was like talking shit to him. You suck. try new jokes.
My parents were like, my mom was like that all the time. Like one time we thought it was hilarious. My friend and I, we dressed up backwards and we walked backwards all through school. Hilarious. And so the dean, who was like the football coach, he comes in and he brings us into his office, and I'm going to call your parents. And I said, well, wait a second. He goes, if you don't move your finger, I'm going to break it. So I get home that day, and I started telling her, what? And my mom's like, what did you do? What did you do? How did you embarrass us?
Dude, that's how it's funny. When I was a kid fucking up, they're just like, you're embarrassing us, you fucking idiot, and still fuck me up.
My parents were always nervous. They didn't want to get in trouble.
Like when I was caught shoplifting, my mom didn't care about me stealing. She cared more about what everybody's going to think about her.
The gossip.
The gossip.
Because everybody's, this fool stole the plane.
I used to shoplift every day after school, man. It just became a habit.
I did the same thing. When I was like 9, I would steal comic books, and then one day I'm walking out of the comic book store, and she goes, what did you take today, Andy? The one who was working at the store.
How did you steal them? What was your secret?
Well, actually, I even drew like maps of the store. My secret,
heist over here.
My secret was I thought I was invisible, and then I had to go back in with my mom. Oh, it was terrible. But all kids do that, right?
Yeah. Me, I would like I would wear my sweater, and I'll shove Snicker bars under my
the old time,
like a magician.
Just don't
like
fall
I will
off.
hold them up on my ring like this. How you guys doing? And they'll slide down my arm, and I close my arm and walk out like.
Sounds like a bit first stage from the guy who did the hook. How am I doing? Look, folks, I used to shoplift when I was. I don't do it anymore. Whoa! I forgot those Snickers.
I know what you did for summer vacation. You went to summer school.
People say I'm sweet.
But when I got busted, was this, man? I stole a family pack size of Snickers, which was 6 of them. And
the ones that were in the bag?
Yeah, I got greedy. I put them inside my peachy folder.
Fuck with
on the sleeve? Yeah, of course.
Dog.
This guy walking out with a lot of homework.
Studious.
A lot of bulky homework.
And then the guy caught me, and he held me inside the Safeway supermarket office with security.
Loss prevention.
He goes, loss prevention. He goes, and I was already crying. He goes, listen, man, you better give me the phone number of your parents, or I'm gonna give you the phone number of the police. Then right away there, man, I started ratting everybody out. Oh. I was crying. I could tell you who else steals, man. My neighbor, man, he comes in here. He's gonna be here at 5 o'clock. Watch.
Send me the bull over here.
Ratting everybody out, man. Taking everybody down. My mom showed up, and she slapped me right in front of the guy in the face.
She was fucking pissed.
She dragged me out of the supermarket by my hair, and then beat me up at every red light on the way home.
And this was last week, ladies and gentlemen. Just last week. Wow. How old were you then?
I was like 12.
Yeah,
13.
Wow. Now, did that cure you?
No, man. I got busted 3 more times.
I never got busted stealing here, but I got busted stealing in TJ, dog.
Oh, in Mexico?
Yeah. Well, you could get in trouble for that, right?
They just made my parents pay a double. It was just a mechanical pencil. I was like, fuck, I'll get away. Back in the day when you just put a little pants like this, I just try to slip it in there and shit. Right when we're walking out, that fool grabbed me by the back of my little belt. But it's like, por favor, no te muevas. Oh, it was fucking embarrassing, dog.
All my friends, George Vasquez, Rafa Moran, Jackie Escalera, David Isaiah, Carlos Vasquez, my brother Angel, they got busted at Sears for stealing cups. That cup to put between your legs.
How many people did you need to steal a cup?
They all
like
put
a
on.
syndicate.
They all put on baseball cups. You know.
That is the worst thing to get.
The 7 of them. They all have baseball cups. They're all in security. And the guy goes, "We didn't steal nothing." And the guy, he lined them all up. And the guy got it like his little stick. And he started tapping all of them like this.
That is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
What happened?
So they all sad, dude.
Is it true that none of those guys really needed a cup? Isn't that the truth?
They needed it for baseball, man, but they didn't need it.
It's a small penis joke. Is where I was going with it. They needed more like a little Dixie
Maybe
cup.
David Isaiah needed it.
He sounds Jewish. Isaiah. It's a biblical name.
That's right.
I've never been more white than I was in the last 5 minutes. So in TJ, you could get in trouble for that, right? That's a different country over there, right?
I tell a shoplifting joke. When I first started doing comedy, I said, yeah, today we're shopping, lifting. I'm just kidding. I wasn't shopping. Hey!
Yeah, because I did loss prevention. I used to catch fool stealing.
Oh my! So you knew what was the area was there.
I was in North Hollywood doing
Most shoplifters now know that if they steal $25 worth of stuff, they're gonna get a handshake, right?
Yeah, in Kmart, if it was over $50, we'd call cops. If it was $49.99, we'd let them go. But you give them a civil demand notice where you would sue them for $500, and then
So, kids, this is good information for the kids today. Just be careful. Keep it under 50. Go back in 4 times. It's a piece of cake.
And then they'll ban you from the building. You can never come back in here unless it's trespassing. But if you're smart, going, no, you guys are on the lease and you guys ain't the owners, so you can't stop me from trespassing.
Right.
I don't want to see you in the fucking parking lot.
Well, also, if it's Kmart, maybe you don't want to go back. You hurt me more.
That Kmart's not there anymore, though.
A blue light special. Hello.
Shout out to the Valley.
I stole a lot of batteries.
Yeah, dude, batteries are expensive.
Was your mom a shoplifter too?
Was that?
Your mom like a shoplifter?
Oh, she still is.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's No, my mom was not a shoplifter. Why am I answering it straight? No, Felipe, I don't know what you read in the trades.
My dad was
11.
My father was not a shoplifter, but he was the kind of guy that would eat everything at the fruit section at the supermarket.
Well, he's having a conversation with you.
My dad's talking to the manager, asking him where the milk is, cracking walnuts in front of him. You know how some supermarkets, they have candy. You can weigh out candy. You can weigh out nuts. You can weigh out this. At the supermarket where I grew up, they took all that shit out because everybody was sampling.
Handfuls.
I love samples. So you have a lot of beef with people?
You mean like other comics? And
Yeah,
stuff?
like you criticize Ricky Gervais.
Well, because just because he's so obnoxious. I used to love the original Office, but
He loves the original Office.
Yeah,
The British one's the best one.
but he just half of his thing is about how much money his Twitter. It's just crazy. It's like how much money.
And to me, it seems like that old British ostentatious type fucking so much better. Than
He's just so mean spirited and not funny like he used to be. Just like he's into the big. He's half of his tweets are about how he's an atheist, and the other half are about how he doesn't care what people say about him. If half your tweets are about how you don't care what people say, you probably care a lot about what people
I had a funny tweet that nobody retweeted it. It was funny.
Ones,
it was during that missing plane, that
Malaysian plane.
Malaysian plane. I compared that to that one guy that has a lot of followers on Twitter. He tweets a lot.
Delaney?
What's his name? Rob Delaney. I said, yeah, man. I said, this is my tweet. I said, man, that what was that plane again?
The Malaysian airliner.
That Malaysian plane is harder than Rob Delaney said on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, have you seen that shit?
It's hard to find.
I never saw it.
It was horrible.
I'm hard on myself, dude, but goddamn, that was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah,
fuck.
Man. It was like,
Kill yourself.
It's like somebody who never went through open mics and never died hard to die on TV.
They put 'em up
You ever
there
died on TV?
Oh yeah. Not only have I died on TV, I forgot a couple of times. I forgot where that's my big fear is I'll forget what I'm supposed to say.
Oh, it's mine too.
And I did a thing called 2-drink minimum, whatever it was, and I couldn't figure out. And I memorized. It was like early on, so I memorized my whole act, and then I forgot what I was going to say. And my girlfriend at the time was in the front row. I caught her eye, and she looked horrified, and that made me look even more horrified. And I had a yellow shirt on, and I was just schwitzing, as we say, the Jews, just the sweat pouring down. And I thought it would last. And I remembered some joke about my grandmother, and then that saved the set, kind of, but not really. Yeah. You have to go through all those things.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, on that tweet, nobody retweeted it. Everybody's like, I don't know, like loyalists don't want to jack on him. But dude, that set is fucking. It should have been inside that plane in the back box.
Well, maybe people were also worried about the plane at the time.
Too soon.
Too soon.
One thing that I noticed about you, on Last Comic Standing, when you were listening to a lot of comedians, you heard tons of comics, and one thing you didn't like, and I changed my. I never had jokes like that, but now I care because of what you said. You said that you didn't like comedians bashing homeless people in their set because it's too easy.
Yeah, and it was like I came up with that hack handbook thing, but now there's like things that have happened since then that I just noticed from that last. It's like, to me, how hilarious is it that your thing about how fucked up the homeless guy was. You know what I mean? It's like it just seems like just yeah, exactly. So that's true. I did say that, and yeah, because usually comedy's funnier when you're going against the man, as opposed to going against the people.
Yeah.
You know, so I stand by that. Except for my new hilarious homeless chunk. What's this guy? What, has he got no money? What is the... Hey, pal, what's the matter? Don't have a home?
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, what's wrong with this guy? Can't you get your hook key? You can use my key. I just try to lead it to a prop.
I tell you a homeless joke, but it was like, I saw a homeless guy with a misspelled sign. The sign read Vietnam Veterinarian. So I gave him 2 puppies. Hey, now.
Yeah, and I would never say you can't talk about something. I mean, it's not like this topic's off limits, but it's like when you see all these comics basically and people laughing just at the fact that the homeless guy's all fucked up, you know.
Right.
I remember when I first started doing stand-up comedy, I was an open micer, and everybody, I would just say everybody had a Lorena Bobbitt joke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Can I remember this comedian? Bobby Law. He came into the room and he asked me, "Hey man, has anybody busted out any Lorena Bobbitt jokes yet?"
I love that. That's the best.
Oh my god.
Has anybody talked about the Lorena Bobbitt?
Nah, man, nobody. Okay, because I'm gonna do about that. I'm gonna have a new 5-minute set about that right now.
If you have to check with the people before you that the hack topic was covered, isn't that time to re-examine? Or the comics who find out they go to Canada. What's the 7-Eleven here? What do you call it?
Or when I was on the last comic standing tour, a lot of comedians will Google the town and try to write jokes about the town.
Oh,
that's what you said too about being the hack when you walk into town and you mention
the water tower.
The water tower.
Yeah. I went to. Well, you mentioned the gay bar. I went to the men gym last night. A lot of attractive men there. Like you don't know that it's gay. Boy, the men seem to like me. What? Oh, it's a gay bar? I have no idea. And I like to live in that area where I don't know what's happening.
And that'll work in Hawaii. And that'll work in Hawaii too. Yeah, I was at this I was in Hawaii at this gay bar. It was called the No Likey Deaky.
You have kind of taken it to a new level. I'm loving it now. No likey dicky.
It was a lesbian bar. Hey.
Hey, I'm a lesbian too, ladies.
No. We sell stamps.
Yeah.
What do you call 4 Mexicans drowning? Cuatro Cinco. I read that from a joke book.
I don't even know that. What does that mean? 4 or 5?
Yeah. But Cinco.
Oh, Cinco.
Like
Cinco.
Outside-o.
You have to know the language really well.
It's like that little scene from Born in the East LA. He was all talking to Paul Rodriguez, and he plays like an immigrant. He's all, I don't know. He's all, outside-o. I was all right. He's talking to Cheech. Oh, that's funny.
Marlon Brando played Paul Rodriguez in the Paul Rodriguez story. Remember that?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
You come here on the day of my daughter's quinceañera?
You come here.
You like to see the comic Godfather?
De Niro plays. Are you not getting my joke? No, you're not talking. You talking to me about my joke?
Hey, bro, you took my joke, bro.
Were you AKA Pablo? A little bit, AKA Pablo, a little bit.
He's Roberto No De Niro. Cha-ching, man. Yeah, man. So that people will come in and go, man. Did anybody mention Lorena Bobbitt yet? Because I'm about to bust out this new 5-minute bit.
I'm about to cut up this room.
Yeah, man. No, that would have been a black day. They would have found it right away.
We're tripped over that shit.
Yeah, it is. There's one thing, like when you mentioned that, because I have a joke that I always do when I'm in Corpus Christi, because they have a Selena statue of the famous singer. And I used to say that me and my friend Gabriel Iglesias, man, we got arrested for humping the statue when we were drunk. Yeah, we got arrested for statutory rape. We had. That's right, cocksuckers. I move my arm. Buzzing.
There's a story about Dave Attell where there's a table of Mexican people and he goes and they don't like his act. He goes, what's the matter? Did Selena die again?
That's smart.
That's fucking
That's
funny.
quick, bro.
Hell yeah, dog.
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
Fine.
I cut you off.
No, it's all fucking good shit. We're chilling with the great Andy Kindler.
Andy Kindler, man.
Hell yeah, dog.
You give me hope when you were hosting, when you were judging, because some of the stuff you told me, it made me feel good. Like, I remember what you told me on Last Comic Standing. Unlike Carlos Mencia, you are the real thing.
I remember that too. Well, and people would make fun of me. Well, I was online. I should never go online. But they were like, "Why were you not? When it got down to the 10 people, why were you not more critical?" And my thing is like, I don't want if all those 10 people were Domi and everybody was hilarious. What am I going to say? Oh, you should have opened with this bit or open. I just don't think that's the way advice you give comics. Let them do their own thing. So I kind of we kind of all just didn't do much once it was 10
You were
people.
good, man. And also when there was an argument. And then the other comedian was talking to you, but not at you. And then you started talking again. And then Craig Robinson said, "You already spoke." Then you said, "What? I can't interject."
I had so much fun because he was everybody was so nobody took it seriously. That's what I thought was funny. Like Craig Robinson was did not take the host. It was just the whole tone of it was we're kind of making fun of reality shows or making fun of contest shows in a way. So it was cool. All right, folks, don't include that. Cut that out. No dead spots.
They didn't bring you back to. They didn't ask you again to judge.
No, and I checked my phone. It was working. I checked my email. No, they wanted higher profile people, and that's why they went with was it Russell Peters and
Peters, Roseanne Barr, and Keenan Ivory Wayans.
But even before that, the year before Roseanne was in, I didn't get back. There was two. I don't cry over spilt milk. I mean, sure, I hold a grudge, but look,
the checks still come.
They do still come from that year.
I don't understand. I got a check 2 weeks ago, and then this thing is still airing. And I made a joke about it, man. You guys don't know it, but when this show aired in Spain, I lost.
Yeah, they're not bad checks too. They must play them on cable things.
People from Canada voted illegally for me.
Is that true?
Yes. I met people in Toronto
and
who
how
voted
they do
for
that?
Because they just call the number in or they email it or whatever they did, and it went through.
Are you saying you have to give back the money now?
Yeah, no.
Shit.
People from Mexico voted.
But you bring a sense to comedy, to the game of comedy, a sense of realness. You don't some people this is what you should do. You're real forthright with the way.
Well, the thing is, which is why one thing I tell, I don't want to be like the elder statesman, but one thing I think is comedy, stand-up comedy is something like if you stop doing it, you stop progressing. And that's the thing. It's like I made breakthroughs 25 years in, because I always want to say what I never like to do the act and pretend people, if they don't like it, that they are liking it. So I always commented on myself from the beginning, but you start to refine it. So in the last few years, I feel, of course I'll jinx myself, but I feel really, really good on stage that if it's not working, I can say things. So yeah, I always believe that you should say you shouldn't pretend, so.
Do you like those, those labels that people give each other, when they congratulate each other, oh, he's just a smart comic, didn't get him?
I don't like smart comics so much because I don't think it's a matter of you have to those comics who they make a joke about Chaucer or medieval time. Oh, you don't know about the Renaissance? No,
the Dennis
it can't be.
World.
Yeah, it can't be just reference based.
Yeah,
I just think comedy is more if you don't. I don't do well with crowds that don't listen. Because if you're so drunk you're not listening, you can't get that what I'm doing. So it's not so much you have to be a genius, but you have to participate, where some people just want to be entertained too. Just make us laugh, do something crazy. That's not for me.
Stop kicking.
Yeah.
Who are your favorites when they made you decide to be a comedian?
Well, it's a dream come true doing Letterman because he was my hero. Woody Allen was my hero. Albert Brooks. Even Johnny Carson, I caught the tail end of that. I always loved people who kind of Richard Lewis. I love comics who don't take themselves seriously. So I always like self-deprecating people. So, and I'd say my favorite stand-up of all time, though, is Pryor. I think he was the greatest. And Hicks was great, too. It's hard to compare, but they were all.
Yeah, great orators, those guys.
But Pryor was so vulnerable. He was so himself on stage, and that one special is still the greatest special of all time. I think his first HBO thing. Nothing's topped it. So,
That concert, live in concert.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I always mix them up.
New Orleans?
Not the Sunset.
it's
not the
Long Beach?
Sunset Strip.
No,
one.
Long Beach. Where
Yeah.
there's that picture. It's actually the Wanted.
He's wearing a gray suit with a red shirt, right?
No, just the red shirt and gold shoes and the black pants.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, dude. Fuck.
You have anything to plug?
Well, I'm doing a lot of road stuff in March, and I'm also the voice of Mort on Bob's Burg.
Yeah, I love that show.
And then in March, I'm going to, I hate to brag, I'm going to Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids, if this comes out before, is going to be Friday, March 6th. Where
Yeah.
are my Cedar Rapids people?
This will air March 6th.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on out the next night, the 7th. And then at the end of March, I'm going up to Winnipeg, Canada, do the Park Theater and other things. I can never remember anything. And Letterman. I just did Letterman, so watch that again. Andy Kindler. At Andy Kindler.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's it.
What's up, people? I'll be at the Irvine Improv this weekend. A couple of shows already sold out. Houston Improv, March 12th through the 15th. Sacramento, Harlow's Nightclub, March 21st. Second show just adding. I'm coming to Pittsburgh Improv. First time in Pittsburgh Improv, March 26th through March 29th. Also, we might do a live podcast on our first anniversary on April 1st, on April Fool's Day. Hopefully some of our old guests will stop by and talk.
Yeah,
like
man.
you're welcome to
I would
come.
love to do it.
April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people that come up to you with advice? You have any advice for young comics? Don't do it, I always say.
Well, that's true. But the other thing is, when you're starting, just don't listen to anybody's feedback because, like, if you listen too much, like someone like you, I might not have got, when you first started, I could have said, oh, don't do this, don't do that. But it's ridiculous because you have to go with your own thing. So I try to kind of stay away.
I used to get that a lot from the older comics. I know this comic always say, come on, bro, don't do that joke, bro. You sound, that joke's like, that's a beaner joke, because he was like Mexican.
Right, yeah.
A self-hating Mexican.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be the name of my special probably. Mexican comedian, one immigrant story.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And the other thing is write down. Here's the other thing I think is really good advice that people don't do. If you think of something funny, write it down. So many comics, they think all day long, they come up with stuff and they go, that won't work in my act. That's this ridiculous thing. You write it down, and then months later you can look back and say,
Yeah, plug it in.
That's what Paul Rodriguez told me, because I would give him tags or I would say something funny and I wouldn't write it down. He goes, Felipe, that's your problem. You're quick with a joke, but slow with a pen.
That's so true.
But he's
It's so
seen
true.
that shit though, dog.
He's seen it.
That's a fucking wizard. Regular motherfuckers won't even fucking acknowledge it.
Yeah, because he's been through it all. Or even just use like I've been using my voice memo a lot on my phone. I'm not selling anything. It's an iPhone. Put Andy Kindler in at checkout. But yeah, do your voice memo and then you can download it. Or what the hell am I talking about?
What's up, fool, Rodrigo, man? What's up, man?
Just chilling, man. I'll be around town doing spots. If I ain't rolling with Felipe, and hit me up on Instagram and Twitter and shit. And mad props to the great Andy Kindler.
Thanks
It was a
for
fucking
having me,
pleasure.
man.
Thank you, sir, very much.
Man.
Oh, this was
It was
great.
Thank you, Andy
Hell yeah.
Kindler.
Sorry, I was late.
You're a
all right.
solid ass motherfucker.
This was really great.
Yeah, man. You make people nervous when you're in the room, man.
The real deal,
The
dog.
real deal, man.
Right behind you, Felipe.
Also, please follow All Things Comedy on Twitter. All Things Comedy.
I'm going to do it right now.
Follow us.
you follow me,
Support
you follow
All
them.
Things Comedy.
Hell yeah.
I can't even.
What's up, fool? Give us a what's up, fool.
What's up, fool?
And give us
What's
a,
up, fool?
give us a yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Out of here.
Oh, that was fun, man. Thanks
Hell
again
yeah,
for being
man.
so nice about me being late.
Thank you,
That
Andy
is
Taylor.
a-
Oh, that was
You're the
really
man.
great.
Hell yeah.
I love
dude.
you, man.
You guys were great. I love you.